Hey, welcome back. I'm Ferrikster, here to bring you some more Pokemon Go Battle League battles. These battles are played in Ultra League Remix. I'm using a Defense Deoxys. Yeah. So this Defense Deoxys is already best buddied. It's at 23.95. That is as high as I was able to go. When it's finished, it'll be the Ultra League Rank 1 Best Buddy Deoxys, so that'll be at 50.5. So I need to at least power it up to 49.5 so that I can then Best Buddy it the rest of the way to like about 25-ish. But yeah, I'm a little over 100 CP below that, so it's definitely a much smaller Deoxys than it could be. I don't know how many games would have been flipped in my favor if I'd had a bigger Deoxys, but I was pretty... Overall, I'm still pretty satisfied with its performance, even though it's not as good as it could have been. So I'm running Deoxys with Typhlosion and Snorlax in the back. I think they're a pretty good pairing. Everything backs up Deoxys pretty well. Scrafty is probably one of the worst things for the team. Gelatin in the lead can be a little bit rough because, you can't really... It's hard to switch in Typhlosion against Jelly, although it kind of depends on moveset. But, yeah. Overall, I've been having pretty good success with it. I climbed... You know what? I don't remember where I started this set, so I can't be sure exactly how far I climbed. But, yeah, I don't know. Let's take a look at the team, how it interacts, and what some of my opponents have been running. I'm finally up near the top of the leaderboard. Not that far, but, like, I reached page 1 by the end of this, so that's something. Especially because I'm using a tiny DD. Big DD, maybe be a little bit higher. So, yeah. I switched my Snorlax into this Politoed, and I'm going to get Weather Ball down. You really can never shield against a Politoed, because once you start shielding Politoed, it just starts to outpace you terribly. So even though Typhlosion isn't an answer to Politoed, and I kind of really need Deoxys to do the legwork here, it still would be it just doesn't feel like it'd be a good idea to shield anything, because he's more likely to start shielding if I do. Better just let myself get pretty close to coming down. He switches in his Drapion, and I was too slow to throw my move, and also I'm tried to throw the Psycho boost, and I really should just throw the Rock Slide, because Rock Slide, I mean, the Psycho Boost is single resisted by Drapion, because double resisted by Dark and single weak to Poison. But yeah, I don't know. That's what I was doing. That's where my instincts were. Instincts will kind of improve as you build familiarity with the team, and I just don't quite have it yet at this point. So I am no shielding Typhlosion because I have really no choice. I'm able to incinerate the rest of the way down, and Politoed comes out. And Politoed is going to get Solar Beamed. Wildly excessive KO. But, I mean, sometimes it's nice to be flashy. But yeah, GG. Alright, so next up against Kabagambi. Deoxys into Ninetales. This is a pretty good matchup for Deoxys. The Rock Slide hits for super effective. Counters are hitting for neutral. I'm taking neutral damage in return. But, like, the Rock Slide being super effective is really what makes the matchup good. So I am just going to throw here. If they switch out, that would also be fine because Typhlosion has a really good matchup against Ninetales, and Snorlax has a even-ish matchup against Ninetales, maybe slightly positive. So I no shield because usually when Ninetales starts throwing, they're probably looking to outpace, and they can't really do that if they go straight Gleam, so you'll end up getting baited a lot with a Weather Ball. This one actually went straight Gleam, so that was fine. And since I got the last shield, I just switch out to Typhlosion right away because when shields are down, Typhlosion can just nuke so many things in the meta. Blast Burn and Solar Beam hit nearly everything pretty hard. I mean, Giratina Origin Form is a decent wall to it, but like I think still 2 Blast Burns plus the Incinerates are probably enough. But yeah, once I got shields down, I just opted to switch right away out to Typhlosion. Scrafty comes out. I am going to shield here, and I correctly shield the Foul Play, so that's nice. I'm going to throw this Blast Burn here. Blast Burn and Solar Beam are both hitting for neutral. Blast Burn is a more efficient move, but Solar Beam does slightly more damage. So in this scenario, if I had thrown the Solar Beam, he would have fainted by the time that last Incinerate went through. And yeah, switch to Deoxys and get a simultaneous KO. Now I can bring Typhlosion out, who I switched out while he had a Blast Burn, and just Blast Burn a little Ninetales and take that game. GG. Typhlosion is a very strong sweeper late game. Shields are down, it can just, it can get so much done. Alright, Deoxys into Skarmory. This is a mostly favorable lead. Obviously, if your Deoxys was running Thunderbolt, it would be even better, but like Rock Slide still hits for neutral, and all my counters are hitting for neutral, so that's fine. And I'm definitely going to outbulk Skarmory because, I mean, the Skarmory is at 2383. It's even smaller than my Deoxys. Not a lot of Pokemon smaller than my Deoxys, but that's one of them. So I was trying to lose CMP with him on the 10th because I figured if they were going to throw, they would throw at 10 because then they're at back-to-back, and decent chance they would end up throwing the Brave Bird, but I had a little bit of lag and didn't end up doing that. My opponent switches into Deoxys, and this Deoxys is at 2425, so also a small Deoxys, but a little bigger than mine. Switch into Snorlax because my super effective licks get a decent amount of stuff done. Like when he switched in against my DD, I like to just stay in and absorb the counters when they're not very effective on Deoxys, and then switch out to Snorlax and take neutral damage from Rock Slide because I'll take neutral damage from the charge moves regardless. Rather switch in Snorlax. I'm able to reach this last Body Slam. If this opponent's DD had been all the way at 2500, might not have made it. But since it's a little bit smaller, I do, and I'm going to send in my own Deoxys. I'm going to end up shielding here. Maybe it would have been a better idea to send in Typhlosion because I would probably have gotten an entire Incinerate through. But that's alright. Gonna shield there. Skarmory comes out. I'm just going to throw this Rock Slide right away. And if I get the shield, I'm going to switch out. So, switch out right away. If I didn't get the shield, I would have stayed in with Defense Deoxys because maybe would have been able to counter down. Gonna shield because it could have been the Brave Bird, and it was. So that's fantastic. And there is a Landorus Incarnate form in the back. Yeah, gets to the Rock Slide in the time it takes me to throw 2 Incinerates, because Incinerate kind of slow, but I'm able to get to the Solar Beam, and I'm able to launch that beam. And Landorus also gets beamed. So many things getting beamed. Skarmory comes back out and feints me before I land my Incinerate, because Incinerate is such a slow move. But that's alright. I can get DD in here and throw the last Rock Slide and manage to take that game. GG. Alright, next up against Zack Attack. So Deoxys into Ninetales again. Still favorable lead regardless of moveset. They switch out right away to Jellicent. And I think this is the game where I make a mistake. Yeah, I remember this game. So this is a Bubble Jellicent. And it's just Bubble and throwing Bubble Beam. Both of those things are hitting me for neutral. I'm doing super effective damage with the licks, but I'm constantly getting debuffed. When Jellicent switches in and is Bubble, really have to throw a Psycho Boost with Deoxys before switching out. Like, as long as you switch out before the 5th bubble comes through, then you can escape any chance of the Shadow Ball. Like, if you can throw and then switch out at 5 bubbles, maybe you can catch a Shadow Ball. But usually Jellicent won't throw right away against Deoxys because Deoxys can't really apply any shield pressure. But I really needed to do that extra bit of damage. Like, Psycho Boost doesn't hit that hard, but it does like a little over a quarter health, I would say. And yeah, Snorlax would have needed to throw 2 Body Slams even then, because at this point I've been like quadruple debuffed, and my Snorlax cannot lick this Jellicent down. Like, if I had thrown the Psycho Boost, would have been able to just win this matchup and maintain alignment, but because I didn't, I end up switching out to Deoxys because there wouldn't be any benefit to letting Snorlax get farmed to down anyway, and I had so much energy I might be able to do more with it later. And yeah, met with a Giratina. So that's rough for Deoxys. Since we both still have 2 shields, I'm taking too much damage from fast moves here. And yeah, with him double resisting mine, there wasn't a lot of benefit for me staying in. I'm going to switch in my own Snorlax, or switch in my Snorlax and just start throwing Body Slams, because Giratina's not really that tanky, so even though this Body Slam is hitting double resisted, it still does some damage. Just Shadow Snorlax hits a little bit hard. So I'm going to throw this next one because I really need to take this thing out. What I really need at this point is to take shields, but I don't get them. Now I'm switching out to Typhlosion right away. Surprisingly, Gelatin came back in against my Snorlax. So that's... Yeah, at this point, I need to no shield the Bubble Beam and to correctly shield the Shadow Ball, because the Bubble Beam, even though it hits Typhlosion for super effective, it's just such a weak move damage-wise. It just doesn't do that much. Unfortunately, I got baited Bubble Beam, so yeah, now I'm going to get hit with the Shadow Ball, and that very nearly takes me out. I'm able to throw this last Blast Burn, but they can at this point let it go because, yeah, I just have no health left on either Pokemon, and Ninetales comes back in and just Powder Snows Typhlosion down, and I get out of there because I don't need Snorlax to get Powder Snow down. There's just no need to stay, and at that point, the game is clearly lost. All right, Deoxys into Politoed. So Shadow Toad and regular Toad both actually, at least against my Deoxys, if yours is bigger, maybe it's slightly better. They both, if I just no shield Weather Balls, I end up just barely surviving their last one, and I'm just barely out of farm down range, so they end up in kind of a weird spot where they're going to end up having to throw. Can no shield here, and I'll be able to survive a third one. So I'm just going straight Rock Slide. Building up to 10 counters, so building up to back-to-back Psycho Boost, kind of implies that you're looking to Psycho Boost and get out, and Psycho Boost hits kind of hard, like slightly harder than Rock Slide anyway, so yeah, sometimes that can kind of encourage the opponent to shield. But I land this Rock Slide, and then he switches out to Abomasnow, which isn't like... I mean, was taking super effective damage from Deoxys' counters, but I'm able to just switch in Typhlosion. I resist all of the charge moves and his fast move, so at this point, I'm good to just kind of incinerate the whole way down. If this is an energy ball, it'll leave me kind of low, but it won't like KO or anything. I decide to shield anyway. And yeah, even though he baited, wasn't able to get to another move, so I have 100 energy at this point. I'm just waiting to see what comes out. It's Politoed, but that's fine. I'm just going to throw my Blast Burn anyway because Shadow Politoed was kind of low, and it almost takes him out. I have to throw one Incinerate, and I'm able to take him down, but that's fine. It means I have even more energy. And a Machamp comes out. So just going to throw this Blast Burn, and then I'm only one Incinerate away from the next one. Like, they could throw the Cross Chop, they're already there, but, I mean, I still have a shield, so I'm able to just throw this Blast Burn and one-shot this Shadow Machamp and manage to take that game. GG. Still 3 Pokemon left, and still a shield. Just was able to completely sweep there with Typhlosion because I got such a huge farm down on that Abomasnow swap in. I don't think that Abomasnow is an amazing safe swap here either, just because like, if you're going to actively switch to Abomasnow, if the opponent has, I don't know, like a Scrafty, you'll end up baiting that out. And since he had a Machamp in the back, it's not like he needed to bait out a Scrafty or something. Like anything with counter would do really well against Abomasnow. And naturally, I mean, Typhlosion also destroys, although I haven't encountered another Typhlosion yet. All right, so Snorlax safe swap. Snorlax safe swap is kind of awkward for me. I switch out to my own Snorlax, and yeah, now I'm in kind of an awkward spot where I take this superpower, and because he threw that superpower, he's a little bit squishier. I'm able to throw this Body Slam, and it still just doesn't quite KO. So I figured I would just lick the rest of the way down, and I thought this was only a Body Slam, but if it's a superpower, it'll KO, and it is. So now I've lost alignment, which is terrible, because, yeah, Machamp has a pretty good matchup against Typhlosion, just it outspeeds Typhlosion by so much, and I can't even survive like one Cross Chop plus the counters, because it just does too much. So I know when I throw 2 Incinerates, he'll reach his Cross Chop, so I switch out to Deoxys to catch that, and that helps, that's something. And now I get to find out what's in the back, and it's Gengar, a super hard counter to Deoxys. Gengar is... I mean, Gengar would beat Typhlosion also, but not nearly as dominating. Like, Typhlosion would get a lot more damage in. Yeah, so I end up no-shielding here because, I mean, it's pretty much over anyway at this point. Like, I could have maybe the right move would have been to shield and throw the last Psycho Boost. I mean, I can say for sure that was definitely the move. But I figured I would just save both of my shields for Typh. Land that, and yeah, he is at his second move. I was trying to sneak in an Incinerate rather than trying to CMP, because, I mean, I need to get one Incinerate in anyway before Typhlosion goes down, because if Machamp comes in and I'm 2 Incinerates away, he'll reach his Cross Chop faster than I am able to reach the Blast Burn, so I didn't have any option there. Yeah. Probably should have shielded Deoxys. Maybe could have forced another shield out with the threat of the of Psycho Boost. Like, Psycho Boost just barely doesn't one-shot from Gengar from full health, and since I had already debuffed myself throwing the first one, throwing the second one I just didn't feel like it would do enough. I felt like they would have ended up no shielding. I wouldn't have been able to farm down anyway. But yeah, so Scrafty in the lead. Scrafty is pretty rough for my team overall. Scrafty obviously demolishes Snorlax unless you have an energy lead and shields are down and you can land 2 superpowers. And beats Typhlosion also just because it outspeeds it. And my opponent switched into Gelatin. So I threw the Psycho Boost first because I was remembering, the last time when I got just slow melted down with bubbles. This time it's running Hex, so this is a lot better. I'm still going to have to eat tons and tons of Bubble Beams, and I'll come out of this completely debuffed. I like to throw my first Body Slam really early, and that's the only charge move that I'll throw with Snorlax. Like, throw the Body Slam before you get debuffed. Like, it's already double resisted, but it still does something. Once you've been debuffed like 4 times, it really doesn't do anything. And from here, I'm not going to throw anything else. I'm just going to build up so that when he inevitably tries to swap in Scrafty, I'll have a move banked so I can just throw this superpower. Even though I've been double debuffed, it's still enough to KO. And now Ninetales comes out, and I'm just waiting for my switch clock to be out. I switched in Deoxys because, I don't know, I didn't want Typhlosion to get stuck against Gelatin. Our switch timers are a little bit desynced, and I was pretty sure if I just shielded, I'd be able to force a shield out with the threat of the Rock Slide. So I was able to do that. They are throwing this Weather Ball as soon as they have it, so they're energy drained. They're up a shield, but I mean, I'm going to come in with Typhlosion and just try to get this Blast Burn out to force out the last shield. Ended up switching out right away to Gelatin as soon as they had it. Definitely the right move. And if this is a Shadow Ball, it'll do a pretty decent chunk of damage. I'm going to throw this Incinerate and then swap out to Snorlax to lick the rest of the way down. I didn't want to throw the Blast Burn because I don't want Ninetales to come out and farm Typhlosion down with fast moves and have a Dazzling Gleam or something ready for Snorlax. Now I'm able to throw this Body Slam, and my opponent is in kind of a weird spot. They know I have a move banked, so they need to build up to a move and have a shield left over, or be built up to a move that can hit me and, yeah, just not able to quite reach there, because they would have had to throw against Snorlax, and Snorlax reaches the Body Slams too fast. Just barely managed to edge him out in that game, GG. Jeez, I don't know what's wrong with my throat. Alright, Deoxys into Driflim. This is fairly bad, but I mean, it's not horrific. Gonna throw this Rock Slide as soon as I can. I know he'll build up to the Shadow Ball and at some point throw either a Shadow Ball or an Icy Wind bait, so I just definitely want to get the Rock Slide out before that. I switch out when he's at 7, not specifically for the number, just because if he likes to fast move deny, that's when our fast moves were going to sync up and he'd be able to do that, so I wouldn't get any free turns. So I timed my swap out to that. That's how I was able to catch that, and that helps a lot, but unfortunately I met with a Scrafty, which is pretty strong against Snorlax. I'm going to throw the superpower right away because I'm not going to be able to reach 2 moves regardless, and he'll get less counters in if I just throw the superpower immediately and lower my defense. So that's what I do. I get a shield. That's fine. And now I'm going to bring Deoxys in. And yeah, my charge moves can't hurt Scrafty, but my counters are doing super effective damage. So that's really what I have to take down Scrafty with at this point. Since he's already buffed his attack once with Power Up Punch, I'm forced to shield both of these foul plays. It wouldn't KO from there, but it would leave me so ridiculously low that he might be able to just counter the rest of the way down. Was hoping to get a shield here, but definitely not going to get that. He switches into Driflim, which is a much better receptacle for this energy anyway. Just going to throw that Rock Slide. And now I have to switch out to Typhlosion because I cannot counter down. Counters are triple resisted by Driflim. So, yeah, each counter was doing 1 HP of damage. I'm thankfully able to incinerate the whole way down, and I have a Blast Burn ready. Scrafty comes out. I throw 1 incinerate before throwing this Blast Burn because I don't need them to reach a move. If they reach a move, they will KO me. Even a power-up punch would nearly take me out from that point. And now, if I can just reach like 2 blast burns, I'll be able to take out this G-Fisk. But I'm just too low, not going to make it. Going to get mud-shotted the whole way down. And yeah, now my Deoxys comes out. And I'm going to stay in to double-check to find out how much an Earthquake does, because I know I'm going to get Earthquaked. And it does like a pretty decent chunk of damage. And yeah, tried to escape there before I got KO'd, but got KO'd anyway. So that's the GG. All right, next up against Papyrus. Deoxys into Deoxys. So his Deoxys is at 2,500, so it is way bigger than mine. This man pays for raids. I'm able to sneak in a counter, though, so that is something at least. Like, the mirror isn't changed that much. Like, his rock slides definitely do a little bit more than my rock slides, but I think our counters are doing the same amount of damage. Like, neither of us, he doesn't hit a counter break point on me just because my Deoxys is smaller. Able to sneak in a second counter, so it helps me pull a little bit further ahead, or rather just keep the damage about the same. Because my one counter is basically making up for the loss of damage that I'm doing with my rock slide. My rock slide definitely does a little bit less. Like, you can see it visually. It's just a smaller chunk of the health bar. And I mean, he also has a little bit more HP than me because he's been powered up more times. So landing that rock slide, and I mean, I'm 3, that's a third counter ahead that I am. But even with those 3 counters, I'm not going to be able to counter the whole way down. If my Deoxys was full-sized and I had done like 3 more HP of damage with my rock slides, then I would have been able to counter the whole way down. And that would have been nice, but like, wouldn't end up changing things that much, as you'll see, because a Scrafty comes out. Deoxys is already my best answer to Scrafty. I'm able to throw this Blast Burn without him sneaking in any extra counters. But like, what would have been better if I had fainted faster and could have gotten 2 Incinerates in on Deoxys? That honestly would have been a lot more helpful. I'm going to shield here, and it's the foul play, thank goodness. I didn't shield a power-up punch, throwing 2 Incinerates and then throwing this Blast Burn. He sneaks in 1 counter, which is literally what dooms me. Like, going to throw this Blast Burn, and now I just need 2 Incinerates to reach my next one. I'm going to shield this also. It's going to be a power-up punch. And I'm just barely not able to reach this Blast Burn because he gets... If he had been 1 counter behind, would have been able to Blast Burn the Scrafty and find out what's in the back. Since I wasn't able to, now I have a double buffed Scrafty countering me down. Tried to throw this Body Slam before he reached a move, and yeah, did not make it there, so now this Body Slam is going to land, and it still just barely won't be enough to take out Scrafty, and I get countered down, don't get to find out what's in the back. GG. That was rough for me. All right, next up against Lofen Oakenfold. Deoxys into Machamp. This is a pretty good lead for me, although in my experience, Machamps tend to have things in the back that are pretty good against my team because they're designed with, you know, things that can respond correctly to like a Deoxys or like, you know, a ghost type. And Snorlax is a very good answer to those things. So I need to switch out to Snorlax at some point. I'm going to throw this Rock Slide, and at this point I should have switched out. I'm going to throw this Psycho Boost, and hopefully I get a shield at least. So that's something, and now I can switch out to my Snorlax. Would have been nice if I would have been able to catch a Body Slam. Maybe should have thrown 1 counter first to see if I would be able to do that. End up eating this Superpower instead, and that's unfortunate. I'm going to throw this Body Slam as soon as I have it, because that means I'll be able to get there before he reaches another Superpower. Managed to take Snorlax down, and now Machamp's going to come back out, and it is going to counter me the whole way down. That is 5 counters, so he's just 2 away from the Rock Slide. Waiting out the switch clock because I know our timers are wildly desynced. Throws 1 counter and then throws the move right away, so this can only be a cross chop. I think maybe he was throwing that to stall out the clock because he needed to switch out, but like, yeah, there's just a Magnezone back there. I switch out on 5 to catch a Mirror Shot on Typhlosion. It wasn't trying to catch this Mirror Shot. We're just trying to get Typhlosion in there right away. Because these Incinerates do significant damage, way more than my counters were doing before. I'm going to shield this because it could be a Wild Charge and just another Mirror Shot, so I'm going to throw this Blast Burn here. I know he has like a decent chunk of energy, so I was expecting to get the last shield, and then I'd be able to just farm the rest of the way down with Incinerate. Decided to no shield, bring Machamp out. I'm going to throw this Incinerate as soon as I have it. This Machamp is now at 4 counters since he had 1 left over from before. And he doesn't want to shield because I'm slightly ahead. I would just need to throw 2 Incinerates to reach my next Blast Burn, and I still have a Deoxys in the back. So yeah, managed to take that game. So not an amazing set, 2 out of 5. I dropped like 20 points down to 3,300. But that's all right. See if I can make up for it in this set. All right, so against Buhustion. Probably didn't pronounce that right. Deoxys into Scrafty. Scrafty, I definitely prefer to see it in the lead. He switches out to Bronzong, and I'm absorbing the confusions on my Deoxys first. I probably should have just stayed in a little bit longer and tried to absorb one side shock, just because like Bronzong probably wasn't going to payback me, but I mean, you never know what they're carrying. Usually it's Bulldoze as the secondary move, side shock Bulldoze, but I mean, they could be carrying payback. I don't know. So it's an even 4 confusions to the Psyshock. I'm going to throw this Body Slam here. They're still 2 confusions away from their next one, and I am just barely able to lick down before that last confusion registers. So definitely good for me, Scrafty here, and we're having some nice lag. I'm not going to be able to reach double superpower, so I'm just going to throw one. Could have thrown double Body Slam instead, but I didn't want to throw one Body Slam when I was so low, because if they had snuck in a counter, I would have only thrown one Body Slam. And I'd rather get the shield or do like more damage. So I'm going to bring in Deoxys, and I am going to just unload this Rock Slide energy. I don't know. It doesn't do a ton of damage, but it does put him into counter down range, where he'll only be able to reach one move. So throws the Foul Play, so I don't really have to worry about energy anymore. And there's a Jirachi in the back. So Scrafty double Psychic Steel. That's original, actually. So just going to throw this Blast Burn, pick up a shield there. Jirachi is usually running Psychic and Doom Desire. Throws the Psychic and takes me out. Even worse, gets one confusion in. So bring in Deoxys, because that's my last Pokemon. I just have no choice but to bring Deoxys in. I'm going to have to eat this Doom Desire. It doesn't really do that much. Like Jirachi's Doom Desire. Doom Desire is a fantastic move in terms of like damage per energy. Like it's very efficient. It hits very hard. But Deoxys is so tanky, and Jirachi doesn't really hit that hard either. It doesn't have a high attack stat. It's bulky. I also can't believe I'm seeing a Jirachi in Ultra League. Like that means this person has no Great League Jirachi. I don't know. I wouldn't be able to do it. But, yeah, able to counter down Scrafty, and now I can just throw the Psycho Boost and take out Jirachi. And that's a GG. Barely managed to hang on in that game. All right. Next up, against Nathan Valor. All right, Deoxys into Scrafty. Again, Scrafty, not amazing for my team, but if I'm going to see it somewhere, this is definitely where I want to see it. Thankfully for me, most of the Scrafties have been in the lead. That's not just a trend from this set, that's just a trend overall that I've noticed. Also have been a lot of Shadow Machamps in the lead, so I feel like Deoxys does. I mean, obviously shuts down Shadow Machamp and does pretty decently against Scrafty. Although despite winning the lead, Shadow Machamp matchups are pretty tough just because of the backlines. So I'm going to shield here, and it is a foul play, so that's good. And now I'm going to throw the Psycho Boost just before he's able to get to another foul play. I don't want to have to shield again, and the Rock Slide just doesn't do enough. I get the last shield, which is crazy to me. Like, having gotten 2 shields off of Scrafty just against Deoxys, like, if you're playing as Scrafty, there's not really a need to shield against Deoxys. Like, even if the Thunderbolt hits, it just doesn't do that much. And there's a Mandibuzz back there. So that's fine. Mandibuzz doesn't actually have a great matchup against Deoxys, so I guess that kind of explains why they were staying in. Thankfully, I'm able to reach a second Blast Burn here with Typhlosion. Blast Burn hits pretty hard, but Mandibuzz is just so ridiculously thick. I make a mistake here, which is shielding, because I'm actually not going to be able to reach another one. I don't know why I shielded that. I mean, I guess I thought I was going to reach another move. I'm definitely shy. He could have even thrown an extra Snarl before throwing this foul play, would have gotten it for free. But just going to bring Deoxys in. I will be able to counter down from here. He switches into Ninetales right away, so I'm just going to unload this Rock Slide. Super effective damage, but, I mean, it doesn't hit that hard because Deoxys is not that, just doesn't have very high attack, and especially mine, because mine is still under 2400 CP. But yeah, just going to bring Snorlax in. Snorlax has a pretty decent matchup against Ninetales also. Gonna eat that Weather Ball, no problem. And yeah, we'll be able to lick the rest of the way down. No, just barely got charmed out. But that's okay, just one counter to take him out. And now I'm able to just counter down Mandibuzz. And that is a GG. So there we go. That's crazy. Scrafty in the lead with Mandibuzz in the back. What would he do against like a Charm Ninetales lead? So yeah, Deoxys into Melodic. Melodic is, I mean, this is the only one that I've seen so far in all the sets I've done. Maybe not that many sets, 75 sets? No, 75 matches. However many sets that is, 15 sets? Yeah. Only Melodic I've seen. It is 5 waterfalls to the surf. You know that count if you play Master League, because you encounter Kyogre all the time. I throw the Rock Slide, and like just based on the amount of health that we both have, that is definitely a winning matchup for Melodic. So they switch out right away, or after that Rock Slide lands, and they switch into a Ninetales. So this is probably Melodic Double Charm, because I mean, if it was a balanced team, I feel like they would have stayed in with Melodic, because Melodic could clearly win that matchup. I undercharged this Blast Burn, but not by enough. I wanted to get in one more Incinerate. Looking at it, wouldn't have been able to reach a Solar Beam anyway, so I'm just going to be forced to throw this Blast Burn, and it still does pretty substantial damage. Like, this resisted Blast Burn still does more than neutral Rock Slide from Deoxys. Again, maybe if my Deoxys was bigger, I don't know. So I'm going to shield here because I'm expecting it to be double Melodic Double Charm, and you don't really need a ton of shields against Charmers, you need health. So, just going to throw this Rock Slide. Since I'm going to switch out after this, I really should have just thrown the Psycho Boost. Oh, never mind. I guess I stayed in and threw that Psycho Boost. Okay, ignore me. I don't know what I'm talking about. Throw the Psycho Boost, get the get a shield, and now I'm switching out to Snorlax. Can throw this Body Slam, and I'm still going to be able to outpace to the next Body Slam, so that one gets the last shield. I'm going to take 4 charms before I'm able to get my next move out, and they're going to throw here, going to shield. Even if they turned out to be at back-to-back moves, at this point, like, Deoxys would be able to counter down. No. Well, okay. Never mind. Deoxys wouldn't have been able to counter down. I have to remember the Fairy Resist counter. I'm so out of it right now. I don't know what I'm doing anymore. I don't know what I'm talking about. But yeah. Thankfully, Past Me knew what he was doing and was able to take that game. GG. Current Me, I don't know if Current Me could have hanged. All right. Deoxys into Gelatin. Gelatin is a pretty terrible lead for me. I can't really switch out right away. My only real option is to try to switch out and catch a move. Just like Deoxys's Rock Slide and Psycho Boost, they just do so little. It's barely worth throwing. I'm just going to switch out right away to Snorlax, and yeah. I was hoping to catch a Shadow Ball. That didn't happen, but that is okay. I've been debuffed once. My attack has been debuffed once. Now my defense has been debuffed also. Snorlax not feeling super healthy. Just going to throw this Body Slam. And even though I've been single debuffed, well, now that I've been single debuffed, it's doing as much as a Body Slam from a non-Shadow Snorlax would do. So I've built up extra energy each time to hopefully throw off their counts. I'm going to be just barely able to reach this last Body Slam. And this will force a shield out because they have a ton of energy. They definitely don't want to waste that. So got a shield. That helps. I really need to get rid of shields because that way Deoxys, or not Deoxys, Typhlosion will be able to get stuff done. End up eating the Earth Power, and that's fine. I don't think that I really need Deoxys. I'm just kind of putting all of my... I'm putting it all on Typhlosion, hoping that Typhlosion will be able to sweep. End up taking that Poison Fang, and I'm able to counter the rest of the way down. So naturally, Gelatin comes out, and I'm going to throw this Rock Slide before I switch out. Rock Slide is not going to hit very hard because Gelatin is so tanky, and I'm staying in at this point because I just don't know what else to do. Like, I should probably shield this, even though I know it's going to be a Bubble Beam, and just... Because what I needed to do was reach another Psycho Boost and at least throw that Psycho Boost to do that damage. Like, now... I bring Typhlosion out, and this Gelatin is still so healthy that I'm not going to be able to Blast Burn it, especially now that I've been double debuffed. I should just go for the Solar Beam. I'm building up to like 100 energy, and I should throw the Solar Beam. Instead, I take another Bubble Beam, and a Hex also sneaks in. I don't know how. Throw this Blast Burn, and it just doesn't do enough. And now I'm going to throw another Blast Burn. And if he no-shields this, it might just barely take him out, or not, and Gelatin will survive anyway. I switch into Deoxys right away to try to catch this move, and, well, I was just hoping to throw my Psycho Boost, and now there's a Stunfisk in the back. So if I can just reach double Blast Burn, I'll be able to take this game, and I'm just not quite able to make it. Typhlosion goes down, GG. That's rough. All right, next up against Rope. Deoxys and Demandibuzz. This looks like it would be a bad matchup for Deoxys, but I mean, it's fine. Like, my counters are hitting for neutral. I'm taking super effective damage from Snarl. I'm going to take super effective damage from the foul plays. But importantly, just Deoxys's Rock Slide does, like, pretty decent damage, and I get to them pretty fast. Like, Mandibuzz will only really be able to survive 2 Rock Slides, and then I'll be able to kind of counter most of the way down if I had to. I can survive double Dark Pulse. Even my Deoxys, which isn't as big as it could be, is going to be able to survive the second Dark Pulse. And, I mean, they could farm me down, but in the process of doing that, I'll have ended up reaching another move. They switch into Aromatisse, and I barely swap out in time to preserve my Deoxys with a charge move ready. Able to bring in Typhlosion against the Charmer, which is fantastic. I'm going to throw this Blast Bird, and they no shields. So, I mean, at this point, I'm going to be able to Incinerate the rest of the way down. I'm just barely not able to Incinerate down before they reach a charge move. If I had swapped in Typhlosion ever so slightly sooner. But, like, I feel like I couldn't even have done that. I don't know. Yeah, I'm pretty sure Aromatisse was going to reach a move no matter what. Could have thrown the Solar Beam there, but, like, I was anticipating them shielding. So Mandibuzz is going to come back out. And I know this Mandibuzz already has a little bit of energy, so I'm just going to throw Blast Burn right away to force out a shield, and they don't shield, and now they just have a Nidoqueen left over. So I'm going to throw this Blast Burn, and I should switch out immediately here, or let myself go down. What I shouldn't do is throw one Incinerate and then switch out, because I'm not going to be able to get another Incinerate through and reach another Blast Burn, and now I'm switch locked with my Snorlax, which is, like, not that great, but not that bad either, because Snorlax has a mostly neutral-ish matchup against Nidoqueen. Able to reach this Body Slam. And now that I've gotten a shield, I'm pretty comfortable just no-shielding. Like, even if they KO me here with an Earth Power, I just need to get my Deoxys out with, like, you know, a shield, and even if they throw right away and I lose CMP, I'll be able to get out the Psycho Boost and take that game. But Snorlax is able to reach the Body Slam, and I'm able to take out Nidoqueen with Snorlax. Managed to take that game, GG. And, yeah, that concludes that set. So, managed to go 4 out of 5 that set. That's pretty good, considering I'm using an underpowered Deoxys. I kind of regret not spending a little bit on raids, but, like, I don't know. I guess it's fine. Like, the game is a little bit harder. I might not be able to get as far as I was able to before. But, I mean, able to get to number 39 on the leaderboard there with 33.47. Still pretty respectable. Like, on page 1 this season. I don't think I've been here this season yet. Just spent too much time scrounging around trying to go for encounters, but, like, it's time. It's time to make, like, a legitimate push to try to get somewhere. So, yeah, I don't know. Thanks for tuning in. Thank you all very much for watching. Don't forget to do the things you know you're supposed to do at the ends of videos. You know you're supposed to do those things. Please do the things. I'll catch you guys on the next one.